Hey guys, welcome back. This is Colin with Colin Talks Crypto. So I have a few things I wanted to talk about today. First of all, I wanted to take a step back and just look at how I look at the market. Here's CoinMarketCap. When you click at the top on market cap, you get presented with this graph here. And basically, this is from 2013 to 2018, what we're seeing here. And obviously, we had a recent surge up in December and a correction downward. And I am not a day trader. Let's just say I learned that lesson early on. Day trading is a good way to lose money. So I'm a hodler with the occasional trade. I'll do a few calculated trades every year just to keep my crypto in the right vehicles. I find this graph really interesting because it's a graph of the entire ecosystem together without just focusing only on Bitcoin. And I like that because money's flowing in and out of different areas, but this way we can keep an eye on the whole market and where it's going. So what do we have here? We have a huge spike up and a correction. Now I just want to go back and make this show a smaller time period. So this was the last price peak. It was about $1,150 for a Bitcoin at that point. So this was December 2nd, 2013. And look at this. What do we have here? But a very gradual, smooth bowl shape. It's the longest market correction cycle I've ever seen in crypto. I personally hope we don't repeat it that long, but you never know. Okay, so down here, we're looking down at this area. Right here. This was about March 2013. It spiked at $255 US per Bitcoin. And again, we have a similar pattern of it surging up and then a correction, another bull shape, and then a surge up. And this was the last graph we just looked at. And this was the $1,150 US per Bitcoin price peak. You'll notice that even in 2011, there was the same pattern here. I think it went to about $30. And the reason I have this up here is because every one of these cycles generally, to me, seems to follow this pattern, which is the stages of a bubble chart. It does look like every single time we have a bubble, it ramps up, it accelerates, it gets steeper, near vertical, and then it pops. Sometimes it does a half recovery, and then it crashes down, and then we have a correction stage. I mean, generally speaking, this seems to be what happens. And I've observed this time and time again in the Bitcoin space, all the way from, I got in Bitcoin in 2013. So the point is that this cycle, the stages of a bubble chart, repeats time and time again. If we were to zoom in on this 2011 bubble, it would sort of resemble this. Here, it sort of resembles it, and here it sort of resembles it again. And so let's go back, and where are we today? Let's zoom all the way out. So this is 2013 to 2018. Here we are. And look, there it is again. Now I'm going to kind of focus in on this. And so we are right here. And this is December. So the question is how long is it going to take to repeat the cycle again? In my mind, it's not a matter of if it's going to repeat again. It's a matter of when it's going to repeat. Because we have one almost cheat factor on our side. This is how I look at investing in cryptocurrency right now. This is not the stock market. This is not some gamble where we don't know if what we're investing in is going to make it. Like, we know that crypto is the future of money, at least if you understand the underlying technology of it. Obviously, I feel like I do because I'm so freaking pumped about it and have been for the past 6 years that I've been watching this space. And so it's not a matter of if it's going to surge again, it's a matter of when, to me. Because to me, like I said, this is similar in magnitude like the invention of the internet, the invention of fire, the invention of the wheel, the invention of email, the cell phone. All these technologies are disruptive. And when you have a disruptive technology like that, it doesn't wait. It just soars and mows over the competition. So if we were talking about, the next brand of printer investment, I would not be able to speak so certainly on this. Or the next type of asphalt paving, I wouldn't be able to speak so certainly on this because I don't know where those are heading. I don't know if they're at the top of their peak already, if there's another technology right around the corner that's going to outdo them, or if they are going to go up I don't know. But with crypto, I feel very confident, so confident, in fact, that I feel like it's cheating to be able to invest this way. Because I guess you have to recognize that we are at the beginning of something great. And if you see that, then you can use that as your foundation for all further actions. And like I said, it feels like cheating almost, because then you can invest knowing that you're in a growing market. And if you're in a growing market, you can almost invest stupidly and still make money. So we're about investing as smart as possible and making the most money. So I did an image that shows where this last 2013 to 2016 bull right here. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So this shape, just to show the pattern that I see. And I did my best with that pink line to show what I'm saying there. I mean, there's the bull shape. So I feel like in time, we'll be able to look back on the current cycle we're in of 2017 to 2000, I don't know, 18, 19, 20, and draw a similar bull. So really, it's a matter of extrapolation and basing this on past patterns. So let's take a look at where we are right now. I think that this bull is starting like this. And if you draw a line through it, I think it's curving downward like this. So if we were to go to the other picture, I think that we are the equivalent of approximately here. Maybe we're here. I'm not sure exactly. But we're definitely not at the spike, and we're definitely not heading up steeply again. So we're, I think, somewhere in this range, just to be very broad and safe about the prediction. So with that being said, I feel like the vast majority of the bear market is over, and I feel like we are into this stage right here, the equivalent of this stage on the cycle. So I predict that for the next 4 to 8 months, approximately, we're going to be relatively level in price. There'll be some ups, there'll be some downs. It's not going to go too crazy. And then after that 4 to 8 months, I think we're going to begin entering and climbing the next bull run. And I think that'll take another 4 to 8 months. So we could be talking anywhere from 8 months to a year and a half, roughly, for this cycle to play out. And I know that's a very, very safe, broad guesstimation to make, but I've tried to guess this before with the 2014 crash, and based on the previous bubbles, I thought this next one will be complete in 8 months, because it was like 8 months seemed like a standard amount of time that a Bitcoin price bubble took to recover to the next high. And it does not seem to follow any particular set rules on that. And I think anyone that's telling you that is probably making it up. So all I can say is that there's definitely a pattern, and we're going to look at that broad pattern. I don't know how big or small term on time it's going to be, but I think we're going to see this bull shape again. So again, I think we're here. I think we have a lot of sideways action right now, and therefore it's a very good time to buy. It's a very good time to buy the base cryptos. The ones that I personally invest in are Ethereum, EOS, Bitcoin Cash. I have a little bit of Cardano, and I have some Bitcoin. That's from the earlier years that I've just carried as a diversification. I am not really thrilled about the path that Bitcoin is taking currently. But the two that I'm most excited about, as I look at my laptop here, I'm most excited actually right now about EOS. That's my number one hottest pick since the ICO started in August, approximately 2017. From that day till now, EOS to me has been top, hot on the radar material. And Ethereum is a strong contender, and I think that that's also got a lot of value, and I think it's a smart one to be invested in. In fact, if I could pick only two to be invested in, and I had to liquidate all my other holdings, I would feel comfortable being in Ethereum and EOS. And I actually made a pie chart, and we'll show that in a second. And it'll show basically my portfolio as I currently have it. And I'll kind of briefly go through each of the cryptos and show you the holdings that I have right now. So that's where I see the market. I feel like we're leveling off, and it'll be a little while. I think that people who say that it's going to go up right away are probably incorrect. I think they're being a little over enthusiastic just based on the past charts. I think it's going to take a little more time to balance out, level off, fully correct, and then I think we'll begin our ascent once again. Alrighty, so here is the chart that I told you I made of my own crypto holdings, and here it is. So this is as of today. So as you can see, I'm heavily weighted in Ethereum. 50.3% Ethereum. I have 30.9% EOS. And then I have 4% Bitcoin Cash, 3.4% Cardano, which is ADA, and I have 11.2% Bitcoin BTC. So let's go through these really quickly and explain why I have these holdings the way they are. So Ethereum, need I say more? It's the first massively successful smart contract platform. It was literally created by Vitalik as an answer to the failure of Bitcoin allowing Vitalik to create Ethereum on BTC. So he said, screw this, I'm out, I'm making my own platform. And he's been wildly successful. And I believed in this from the very first moment I saw Bitcoin's failure to scale, BTC, and it tipped me off. I remember the ICO for Ethereum. You'd have to donate Bitcoin and you'd get like 2,000 Ethereum per Bitcoin. I'm remembering that from like 3 years ago, so that could be off a little bit, but it was ridiculous, right? You could get like an ETH for 30 cents per ETH. And I looked at it, and I had been investing in all sorts of different cryptos at the time. Everything from WorldCoin to you name it, just all these random ones, Diamond Coin, this, in the hope that I would make it big on some of these cryptos. And it turns out 90% of them were total flops. Luckily, I hadn't put that much money into them, but it was a big lesson that fundamentals are important. In fact, they're the most important thing you can have when investing in a crypto. It's not just about the max number of coins, or it's not just about the price per coin. It's not just about the developer or the community. It's all of those things together. You have to be able to look at the entire picture. And is it solving a real problem? Is it bringing something new to the table? That is what I look at. I look at everything. And so when I looked at Ethereum at first, I thought, oh, this is just another shitcoin. I mean, I just called it that. I'm like, I'm not going to get taken advantage of again. I'm not going to fall for this ICO. I'm not going to use my valuable Bitcoin and buy this Ethereum, which was 28 cents each at the time. I wish I had, and I waited for it and it released. I'm like, wow, this platform actually launched. Like, it's operating now. I had not seen that coming. So it took me a little by surprise, and I watched it for a while. I remember seeing it hit 60 cents, 70 cents, 80 cents. I started buying a little bit here and there. I wish I bought a lot more, but I started buying some. And look at it now. What's it at today? We have $602. But there we are. We have Ethereum 50%. It was literally out of the observation that Bitcoin is failing to scale, and I need to move my money because Bitcoin's going to stagnate, and I don't want to lose out on this opportunity. Like, people want to move into crypto, but Bitcoin's not going to let it because it's stagnated. So I'm moving into something that's going to let people move into it. So it's a real lesson in utility and features and real world use case being pivotal in an investment decision. Don't go with media hype. And it's a real lesson. I just want to flash forward 3 years to EOS, and I see the exact same thing right now. I see tons of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I see tons of hateful posts, tons of people finding fault in it. And that was me back 3 years ago looking at Ethereum from a Bitcoin mindset, thinking, oh, this is shitcoin. And that's what people now are basically saying. They're saying EOS is some kind of scammy shitcoin. And they are so wrong. And they're so wrong. And we're going to see that pan out over the next year or two as the price of EOS explodes. And I'm going to be right again. And if not, then I will eat my words. And I'll do it on camera for you guys, since I just talked so confidently about that. Look, we have EOS 30%. This is me going in the ICO when Ethereum, I didn't go in the ICO. So I'm making up for my lost mileage here. I very much believe in Dan Larimer. I think he's a genius. I think Vitalik and Dan are both incredible geniuses. I think it's kind of rare to find someone who likes both Ethereum and EOS, because every time I post in the ETH subreddit, they just hate on it so much. But yeah, I think they're both incredible geniuses. I love that they get along, Vitalik and Dan. And I think that they're awesome colleagues. They peer review each other's stuff. And I think they're both making incredible products, and I think there's a market for both. So yeah, I'm really excited for the future of Ethereum. I'm a little disappointed at how long it's taking to release all the features, like sharding, Raiden, Plasma, all these features. I was talking about these 2 years ago, and I was so excited. And here we are 2 years later, and they still don't exist. And that's partially what preempted me to invest and go heavy into EOS, because I didn't see Ethereum adapting quick enough, which is understandable because, as Dan Larimer himself said, it's way more difficult to change the engine in a running car than to just build it correctly from the ground up. And again, I think he's correct on that. EOS took a year to build the software with a vast majority of the features from the start, and that allows them to jump ahead of the game. And it turned out to be correct, because here we are, we're just about at launch time, and we're going to have a chain, and we're going to have all the features, smart contracts, and scaling before Ethereum ever got scaling implemented. Another thing that tipped me off was when CryptoKitties hit the scene, a simple kitty card trading app on the Ethereum blockchain, and it increased the cost of transactions and just flooded it. I can't remember what it hit, 20 transactions a second, 20 to 30, and that's all it took to completely overload the Ethereum network. And so it was frustrating to me, because I already knew that we needed to scale it, and it was just too little too late. You can't not be ready for adoption when you have a product. Imagine if Google said, "Oh, sorry, we can't have any more Gmail signups because our servers can't handle it." That's every day that happens is lost market share. And I think that's really foolish that Ethereum wasn't ready for that. And I'm not really pointing the fingers, because I'm not the one programming it, and I couldn't even if I wanted to. But I just recognize that it's lost market share regardless of how it happened. It just was a lost opportunity, and that's very unfortunate, because Ethereum has so much going for it, and it still does, hence the 50% holdings. But again, Ethereum was another failure to scale, just like Bitcoin was. And so far, every time that there's this massive problem in scaling and there's a solution, the solution seems to be where all the money goes. So that's why I went into EOS. So there we are, EOS 30%. So let's move on to my other holdings here. So I've got some Bitcoin, and honestly, so 11% of Bitcoin in my holdings. Honestly, I wouldn't buy another Bitcoin, and I probably never will. I just don't believe in the development plan that's laid out for it. I think that it's not scaling quick enough. It's the best example of failing to scale. It's 100 times worse than Ethereum. Ethereum didn't turn away too many customers. Bitcoin, on the other hand, just turned away 50% of the market share. If you look at the market dominance at the top of CoinMarketCap, I think it's 40%. It turned away 40% of the entire crypto market to altcoins, including Ethereum, which ate its lunch because it failed to scale. And so I'm glad that I was able to separate my emotions from my investments. It took a little while, because I was so hardcore Bitcoin maximalist. It took me a few months to really separate myself out and be willing to buy that shitcoin known as Ethereum, which is now amazing, because I was so emotionally invested into Bitcoin. And once I separated myself from the emotions and made rationality its own thing, it was the best thing I've ever learned in investing, because I would have lost a huge opportunity. And so anyways, long story short, Bitcoin failed to scale. I'm not a believer in the Lightning Network, and I am a believer in on-chain scaling. So basically, I kept all my Bitcoin cash right here that I got at the time of the fork in August 2017. And I also traded some of my Bitcoin for Bitcoin Cash. The only reason that this 4% is lower than the 11% is because the value per Bitcoin is currently higher than the value per BCH. I think that it's very plausible that there will be a sort of a flip, or that Bitcoin Cash will become worth a lot more per token. I think they're both going to go up, because there's so much, like I said, you can invest wrong and still make a ton of money in the markets, because it's such a bullish economy. Crypto as a movement is so insanely bullish. So I think Bitcoin's still going to go up, but in relation to all the other coins, I think all this other innovative stuff is going to go up more proportionately. But I'm holding it purely as a hedge. Like I said, I'm not buying any more Bitcoin BTC. I will keep Bitcoin Cash, and I value that more because it's innovating, it's scaling on chain, there's features being brought in, there's new developers, and most importantly, it doesn't rely on censorship to discuss things. Free open discussion. You can go onto the RBTC subreddit and say Roger Ver is a fool if you want, and no one's gonna ban you, and no one's gonna delete your comment. You'll probably just get downvoted if people think you're being a troll. But try saying some stuff like that on the r/Bitcoin subreddit, and what's going to happen is you're going to probably not realize it, but your comment's going to get shadow banned and no one's going to be able to see it. So right there is huge proof to me of which side is in the right and which side is in the wrong. You don't need to hide something if you're doing the right thing. You don't need to hide people's opinions. And so that's what I see there. So lastly, we have Cardano, ADA. And I bought this around the same time that I bought the EOS because it looked like another blockchain that was scaling, and I liked, Charles Hoskinson's speeches and whiteboards because he does a really good job of presenting information, and I think he's really on the point with what he wants to bring to the table. I actually slightly regret it now. I'm still holding it, as you can see, but I kind of wish I put that money into EOS because EOS is just developing so much more quickly that I worry that Charles Hoskinson's devotion to academia and academic peer review actually is overweighted in importance, and it results in being slow. And there's a point where slowness to the game makes you lose. And first mover advantage is very important. And so I see with Cardano a lot of potential, but they need to release fast. Like, they don't even have smart contracts yet. So actually, it's really just a proof of stake version of Bitcoin right now. It's just money transfer. It's not even as good as Ethereum at this point. It might be able to do a few more transactions per second, but we already have Bitcoin Cash for that and 1,000 other cryptocurrencies. So why would we need another just pure money transfer? So I guess my message to Cardano guys is like, get your shit together and produce faster because you're going to miss the boat. EOS is going to eat your lunch majorly. And I think Ethereum at this rate, I'm actually wondering if Ethereum is going to eat Cardano's lunch too, because I think Ethereum is going to get proof of stake in 2018 started, and I don't know if Cardano is going to have smart contracts. So again, that's my reluctance on that. I'm keeping it again as a form of hedge, but if I could go back in time, I would have not bought Cardano and I would have bought EOS. Again, I think it's cool and I hope it goes somewhere, but I'm just not totally certain on it. Okay, so wow, that was a hell of a breakdown of my crypto holdings. And okay, and lastly, before I sign off here, I just wanted to thank everyone for watching this. It's my second video I've ever made, and I just feel like it really boosted my enthusiasm for doing this. When I got the few positive responses I did get on my last video, it was just really touching, and I'm really thankful for it. And I'm really happy to be sharing this with you guys. So thank you for allowing me to involve you and collaborate with you together to explore this crypto journey. I plan to do this for a long time to come. So if you made it this far in the video, I have a special treat. It's an aluminum printed EOS 20-inch by 30-inch piece of art. So here we go. It's my unveiling. This just shows which crypto I'm so enthusiastic about. Let's see if I can get this in the frame here. How we doing? Can you see it? Oh, here we go. It's like looking in a mirror to get this thing aimed the right way. There we go. As you can see, it's very reflective. It's pure aluminum. And this is going on my wall somewhere nearby me. EOS to the moon, guys. Thanks very much for joining me. Please like this video. Please subscribe. And I will talk to you soon. Take care, guys.